Alright, this is a video response to J. Ryder 4's video about the video by the bozo. That's I don't know any other word to this to call him, but Jay, you're right on the money in your assessment of this guy. You know, I checked out the video and it was a joke. You know, it's let me just say that better. It would be funny if it weren't so serious, if it weren't so sad, if it weren't so tragic. And I think you're right. You know, this is a kid who is clearly laboring with some self-esteem issues, and it's rather than focus on his own problems and get those areas straightened out and put his attention into dealing with the issues within his own community, it's easier to just take pot shots at the culture that has been traditionally targeted. And everyone knows that minorities that come here, that one of the best ways that they can get the props and the support from the predominant culture is by taking pot shots at black Americans. So he's not doing anything new, he's not innovative, he's not creative, he's just, you know, doing the same old song and dance that a lot of immigrants do when they want to feel better about themselves. They can compare themselves to us and how we've been treated, and, you know, try to convince themselves that somehow they are better than us. And so that's what he's doing. But, you know, I just my graduate work, I'm in the field of education, and just a statistic that I came across last semester for a research project that I was doing, and it was released by the Texas Education Agency. 23% of immigrant youths do not have their GED. That's 23% of that population. They don't even have the GED. And that, the ramifications, you know, of that, what that's really speaking about, that is something very serious that he should kind of prioritize, put up a little higher on his list, you know, when it's time to do a video to rant about something for 12 to 14 minutes, you know, maybe talk about that and how that needs to be addressed. But again, you know, it's a lot easier to just rant about all the problems with these, you know, black Americans and the blacks and what they're doing, and, you know, use the N-word and use the, you know, effing this and the effing N-word and do all that. There are people who admire that, but what does that say about their character? But the other point that I wanted to make, you know, in terms of what you said, is that he is either not aware of, or he is choosing to not really look at the bitter and dangerous message that is being directed at him, specifically as a Latino American and as a Latino male. And this is what you were talking about, Jay. This is where you're right on again. There is a message that's being given to them as to how they are viewed, what his predominant culture thinks about them, and the lengths that they will go to cut them out of society, to marginalize them, to lower their chances for making it here in the United States. Specifically right now I'm thinking of Arizona. The Latino community has been under attack for about a year and a half, if not longer. I mean, unless what? Have I missed something? Has there been just an overwhelming influx of Asian and African immigrants moving to Arizona? Okay, I don't think so. It's clear that they are focusing on the Latinos, and there's a strong message there. In fact, I was really surprised to learn that that they signed into law to basically get rid of ethnic studies in the public school systems there. Now, you're talking, again, this is an area where there is a large Latino American community. Yes, there are a lot of African Americans there, and there's a percentage of Asian Americans there, but that is a clear indication as to what they really think of the Latino community there, to the point that the Arizona Department of Education would rather deal with losing funding, with losing professors, because the ethnic studies are primarily, they are in secondary education, so they're going to lose a lot of teachers Teachers are going to have to move. They're going to have to leave that state if they want to continue working in their own field. But they would rather deal with that, the loss of faculty members, the loss of funding, the loss of capital that they would get from students that were majoring in ethnic studies in Arizona. Again, if they want to continue their studies in that particular field, they're going to have to leave the state of Arizona. But they would rather deal with that, okay, than have ethnic studies taught in their public school system. And again, as I just said, there's not the percentage of African and Asian Americans in Texas. It's not as large as the percentage of Latino Americans. So who is that message directed at? Okay, but what is that message? What is the message saying? It's a very bitter and a nasty and a petty message that we don't like you, we don't want you around. We're going to do whatever it takes to get rid of you, to keep you out of our school systems, to lower your interest and your desire to come here. So we're going to make one of your major areas of interest in education unavailable in our country or in our state. That's a strong message. That's a hateful message. But that is what is being directed at him and his people. So instead of doing a 12 to 14 minute rant about that, well, let's just focus on the blacks. Let's talk about them. And again, Jay, you were right. This is, we're talking about a kid here. I mean, just what he was saying, the examples that he was given as to just how, his life has just been so traumatized by these black Americans, that the examples that he was listing, when he was in the 8th grade and these two blacks were behind me and they were throwing paper at me, and then when I was in the 11th grade and this jock came up and tapped me on the shoulder and blew dandruff in my face, so I tapped him on his shoulder and I blew dandruff in his face. This was dumb, and it had no merit. It really didn't address anything. Though, I will give him, I will acknowledge one thing that he did say, and that was the incident at the bus stop where the elderly black guy, commented on these black kids that were going by with the saggy pants. His comment that he worked and fought for civil rights, and in the end all he got was a younger generation of kids that are caught up in foolishness. But even that does not reflect on the black community. What that speaks of is how the black youths are being targeted by the media, the messages that are being put out there that are capturing their attention, so much so that is where their focus is on, that it is affecting their fashion, it's affecting where they put their attention, where they choose to spend their money, the little bit that they have. And it just shows again how there is a concerted effort to keep us portrayed in a negative light, because they know that we have done so many great things, accomplishments that they would never be able to do. They cannot hold a candle to the obstacles, to the trials and tribulations that we have had to overcome as a people. They can't do that. So instead of letting that shine through, well, we're going to make a concerted effort to really target them. Any negative thing that comes up in the black community, we will put that in the spotlight over and over and over again. We will target their youth. We will make it so that wearing pants that are falling down around their legs, okay, in order so that we can point something out about them to keep them in a negative light. That's what that really speaks about, because we know that those same youths, a good percentage of those same youth that are running around, dressed like that, can't even make it across the street to catch the bus without holding up their pants. They're not going to be dressed like that in 10 years, in 15 years. They're not going to be thinking about those things. But now, as youngsters, who don't have that insight yet, they can't see that, and who are dealing with peer pressure, well, it's going to catch their attention. So that's not a reflection of us as a people. If anything, it's a reflection of the predominant culture and what they do, the hoops that they go through to try to hold us down. But this is a youth who, and it's interesting, I don't know if you caught it, I think you did, but he was talking about all the rappers, you know, and who are the good rappers and who you should focus on. And he had to backtrack and correct himself. You know, first it was just black people, then it was, well, it's just the younger black people, and well, then it's just the black Americans. I mean, trying to correct himself. I mean, this is someone who has clearly spent a lot of time focusing and thinking about and watching black people. Okay, to the point that he could make a list of the cool rappers to listen to as opposed as the not so cool rappers. So much so that he could tell you about the underground rap scene. I mean, hey man, how come you're not focusing on your culture and the beautiful art styles and musicians in your culture? Boy, you sure do got a lot of time to be given to us who you don't like. What's up with that? But again, I mean, I'm telling you, I think it must just rub them raw, because they know that they have a ready target whenever they need to make themselves feel good or to turn attention away from them. They can just start taking pot shots at us. But in the end, they know that there is so much strength and vitality and potency in our culture that they can't hold a candle to. And that's got to suck, because when you hate someone, or when you're conditioned and taught to hate someone, one of the ways that you can do it is by breaking them down to nothing. Yet in the process of breaking us down, they can't help but recognize the accomplishments, the vitality in so many areas. Okay, you know, you can focus on the areas that are of interest to him, you know, like say breakdancing, graffiti, rapping, because that's, you know, that's the focus of a lot of youths. Okay, he probably spends a good amount of money buying our CDs, giving money to these people who he can't stand, probably spending hours listening to this music, memorizing some of the verses, playing them backwards, playing them forwards, whatever it takes to get the slang so that he can incorporate it into his vocabulary, emulating our swag. You can see it sometimes in literally the way that they physically carry themselves, who they're emulating, where a lot of their attitude, their swag, it comes from us. Okay, the ones who they hate. But you know, how's that saying go? You hurt the ones that you love the most, or as you know, a better way to say it would be, you hurt the ones that you envy the most. Okay, you know that you can hate us, you know that you can put us down, that society has us under their boot. So when you need to feel better, you attack us. But you know, you're also in the corner at the end of the day, playing our music backwards and forwards, incorporating it into your basic existence. Okay, so you know, focus on some of these the issues for the Latino community. Why don't you spend some time reading about the positive role models in your own community? And I mean, you've got to know this too, that when you are dealing with Latinos, when you find yourself in conversation with a Mexican American who refers to themselves as Azteca, well then you know that you're dealing with someone who's a little more realistic as to their situation and where they are at and how they're trying to deal with it. When you find yourself in conversation with a Latino who refers to themselves as Afro-Boricua, well, you know you're dealing with a Latino who is grounded, who is level-headed, who sees what has happened to his culture or her culture and how they are trying to deal with it. Those are the types of Latinos that this kid should be focusing on. If you don't like blacks, okay, leave us alone. Stay away from us. Stop listening to our music. Focus on your culture. Focus on your community. Find role models from your community that are going to help you deal with the high statistic rates in the area of education alone. Deal with that. But anyways, I just wanted to, that's my little comment, you know, my little contribution to the comment party. But again, Jay, just another video that was really good. All right, peace.